everyone. Thank you for joining the MSP Corner webinar. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I am joined by my co-host, Gregory Morabiec. And today we have a very special guest, Shahar Ben-Hador from Radiant Security. He is the CEO and co-founder of Radiant Security. And Shahar is a longtime practitioner in the security industry with previous experience, including CISO of Imperva, as well as VP of Product Management at Exabeam. He's experienced on both the industry and vendor side of cyber, which gives him some unique perspectives that should be fun to explore in this webinar. And he's going to give us a rundown on their SIEM product, how it all works, and the benefits of implementing his product, which is AI powered, which makes life a lot easier for a lot of SOCs because it does a lot of the investigation and analysis for your SOC product, for your SOC team. So, Shahar, I'm handing it off to you. So you've got control and you can share whatever you'd like so we can get this show started.
All right, cool. Thank you. Let me share my screen here.
Yep.
All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep, I can see it just fine. Thank you.
All right, great. So welcome everybody, and thanks for joining the webinar. Really excited to be here and tell you all about how you can transform your MSP with an AI-powered SOC. Really maximize your profit, security outcomes, and customer satisfaction, so you can keep growing your business. And just a little bit about myself, not the best picture out of here, but my journey starts before the highlights that you're seeing on the screen. My dad had an MSP, so that's what he did for a living, and I worked for him. This is about 25 years ago, and really got to see the struggles and the highlights and the lowlights of such a business, and how you always need to find new revenue streams and high margin revenue streams to keep the business going and to keep the business growing. And in recent years, I've been with two security companies, Imperva and Exabeam, before starting this company, Radiant Security, and excited to show you what we're doing, and happy to take any questions during the webinar or after the webinar if anybody is interested. So a little bit about our agenda today. We'll start with some changes in the MSP landscape. What are the driving forces that we're seeing, working with other MSPs like yourself. We'll talk about how you build a profitable security operations center offering, and how you're transforming your SOC services with AI. This was not possible until a few years ago, but AI have opened a lot of opportunities in many areas, including SOC services. And last but not least, here we'll do a demo of the product, so exactly what you get and what you can deliver to your customers. So let's get started. So the MSP landscape is changing rapidly, right? We all did a lot of IT work, years ago, but a few driving forces are changing this, right? Hardware lasts longer. For how long have you been using your Apple laptop? I have at home two Apple laptops that are lasting 7 years now, so you don't need to fix them so often. Servers are now often in the cloud, and manage their hardware, and everything is managed by a cloud provider. And more and more people, every week are working remotely. And so the offices are not as big. The IT infrastructure supporting the office is getting simplified. And last but not least is the business applications that we all use to install on servers and run SQL servers for them, etc. These are not required in many cases, and more things are moving into the cloud. And that eventually makes the IT work go lower and lower every year. And so security to the rescue, right? This is high margin work, and it's increasing. Remember, AI is already used by the attackers, and it's time to use AI, by the defenders to really beat the attackers, because they can do more, and so should you. And SOC work is extremely high demand. There's a decades-long talent shortage, and new technologies are available that greatly increase the profit margins, primarily because they reduce the reliance of people's labor to deliver these services. All right. And the same forces that are driving the demand in the SOC services also make them hard for you to provide them with traditional means. Like, there's a shortage in talent, and that's why your customers need your services. But also, it's hard for you to hire these security practitioners. They're more expensive than your IT folks, and they're harder to find. And moreover, a lot of customers now require that they're in the same geography as your customers. So if it's a US based customer, they may require that the people providing security services are in the US, and that just creates yet another barrier for you to deliver a profitable service. And so, you know, people can build a profitable SOC the traditional way, but it's very hard. If you see the picture here, this is what some SOCs look like when you service a lot of customers. Like, lots of things to take care of and lots of people behind screens to do the work. And hiring is tough. It's the same, challenges as the customers, but now also as an additional layer, people want these folks to be in their own geo, right? Margins are tight. SOC analysts are expensive. They're more expensive than your IT guy. If your IT guy is making $75 to $100 an hour, the SOC analyst might be making 25 or 50% more. That it's directly into your profitability. And customer churn is high because it's hard to deliver quality services. Security is hard, and some customers don't renew because they're not always seeing the value. It's hard to also show the value because what happens when there's nothing that is happening for 3 weeks. Sometimes customers may think that you as an MSP don't do your job, in helping them, instead of being happy that they weren't attacked, during these last 3 weeks. So I'll show you here in the demo how Radiant helped with that as well. And last but not least here, customers want more. There's always new vectors, and one of the biggest problems that MSP customers face is attacks that are starting from phishing and other emails, as well as stolen identities. So a lot of customers sometimes lose the password to their identities, which results in unauthorized access to their data, to their application, and it requires a lot of work to deal with it correctly. Cool. So what is Radiant Security? We are the AI-powered SOC Copilot. We help you harness the power of AI in your MSP to make more money using automated SOC services capable of finding more attacks, responding faster, at a fraction of the cost of other means. And so how do we do that? We help you develop rapid SOC service creation. Again, use your IT guy, the guy who's doing IT services with Radiant. They can now be your SOC person, and you keep the same cost as you had before. It helps you improve the profitability. It gives you new revenue streams with new use cases that are hard to deliver, and it helps you to create improved customer satisfaction. Last but not least, helps you reduce the churn because you're showing them every week, what you have done for them, and they understand the value and the repercussions if they decide to not renew, and they know that you still work for them even if nothing happened in a period of time. So how do we do that? We connect to your security products. We connect to all the incumbents, whether these are firewalls, email services, cloud services, endpoint solutions, etc. We integrate into all that in minutes. And once you connect one or two tenants, it becomes a kind of easy peasy, 15 minutes per tenant. We automate the triage and investigation of all the alerts. And so, you might be selling good tools like Sentinel-1, right? They do a great job, but sometimes they create more alerts than you know how to triage. We do it automatically for you. And then we find those true positives, those incidents, and we show you exactly how to respond to them. And we can even fully automate that. And last but not least, we show you the value weekly of everything that we have done so you can provide the transparency to your customers. And I'll show you in a minute in a demo how we do all that. again, sets up in minutes. You have data connector. You can pick Sentinel-1, SonicWall, Office 365, other vendors that your customers have, and it tells you, it detects the attacks, and it tells you what have happened in plain English. You don't need to know how to read JSON files, or you don't need to get into multiple consoles. It's just one console, tells you what caused it, and it tells you how to remediate it. Okay, and not only that, it gives you the tools to do that very quickly and efficiently, and moreover allows you to automate the action, so you can configure it to do every time somebody logs in from an unauthorized location. You can configure a workflow here that will maybe confirm with the customer whether they are in that geo, and if not, it can automatically disable their identity and initiate the password reset workflow, so they can now reset their password and get back to working without any hassle, and without you as the SOC manager needing to chase them down and work with them until they're good with the new password. And as I mentioned, you can report to them weekly with some beautiful graphs. What was the risk, the impact, and how you help them minimize that risk and stay secure. All right, so let's go right into a demo. Before I get to the demo, thank you for listening. You can always go to RadiantSecurity.ai and use the referral code MSP Corner. All right, so let's get into the demo. And this will be your console. You can decide to share it with your customer because it's so easy, or you can only access it on your own and communicate to the customer in multiple ways. And so what I'm showing here is a couple incidents. This is our lab environment, right? So what you would see here is that there are almost 60,000 security alerts that were created in the last 30 days. Out of them, 16,000 here were incidents, they were malicious. Note that in a real environment, that is more likely to be 16 and not 16,000. This is just a lab environment we're showing here, right? And so everything um, that is malicious will be showing up here with a full explanation of what have happened and how to remediate that. So this is specifically an email incident. And so, Shahar, two users received an email containing a malicious link and were involved in a phishing campaign. One user clicked on the link and posted their credentials online. Luckily, in this case, no user credentials were stolen. And so but we go and verify that, so you know whether you have to reset their password or you have a discretion in that. And you can go and see, all right, this was the email, obviously phishing here. This is a fake IT department, encouraging the user to go and change their password, or in other words, to give the password to the attacker. And now that we found it, we understand the entire kill chain here, like what have happened and how to prevent the next time. And so here, Johnny at Polarfish is the email address who sent it, and we are facilitating here a quick remediation to block this sender to continue sending any emails. Right, and so we give you options here. Here's how you can do it from the Microsoft Admin Console. And if you love PowerShell, here's the PowerShell script that you can copy and paste. But moreover, we give you here a button to execute the task. So you can go ahead and simply do it here from the console without leaving the Radiant console. Or if you want it to be automated next time, you can go into the workflow setting and completely automate it next time. And then the next phishing email that gets detected will automatically trigger a block to the sender. Now we don't stop there. Like we say, here was the malicious URL, and you can block it. In this case, who reported the email, you can notify the user. And all of these are things that as the SOC of this customer, as the MSP, you can configure to be fully automated, and you can customize the templates, put your logo on it, put your text on it, put your contact details on it. And you see here everybody who received the email and the recommendation and the recommended action here. is to go and delete all the emails, right? So you can click here, and again, you got the options here how to do it, right? And you can execute this task, right, automatically, or convert it, next time into a fully automated task. And all of these items include their call to actions that are super easy to take. And when you look at it and at our customer base, about 50% of our customers have workflows that are fully automated, meaning there's not a single person who needs to touch anything here to get to the bottom of it and to fully solve the issue. And I love it. So let me show you another one. This is customer's favorite. This is impossible travel. So how do you as an MSP can know whether people are traveling, they're not traveling? With remote work, it gets even harder. And so, how do you know that? And oftentimes you need to call people, and that's hard to get this done. And so we're doing it automatically for you. And again, finding out here, this is our triage step. This is we're fully explaining what our AI has done for you, right? So we're looking whether there was an MFA bombing, whether there's IPs, were in threat intelligence or brute force attempts. Was the logon, successful or not successful? Is this user traveling frequently? Is it a typical behavior for this user? And we even can reach out to them over Teams or Slack if your users are using this, and try to confirm. And in this case, this user did not respond to it. Right? They have 30 minutes. They did not respond to it. And hence we're escalating it because we're saying it is unlikely travel for Shahar, to go to Brazil. And now with that, you can fully automate the response, and then we do it all for you. So if you get many of those, the most of them will be okay. Like more than 60% of these will be okay, and you don't need to do anything. And for the others, they would be malicious, and then you'll help your customers to not get compromised. One more thing that I wanted to show here in the demo is how you automate this next time, right? So in here, you can block an IP address, and if that we have observed a bad login from, and we see here that this is what we need to do, but now we wanted to do it automatically next time, right? So what we would do here is we'll go here into the workflow settings. And so this is the workflow that has been executed. And we'll simply toggle here the auto execute button, right? So, and as you can see, when you toggle it, it will automatically execute the task without require any manual interaction from a user. And so we can simply, auto execute this, save, and that will work. If we want to manage our business from our Teams app or a Slack app, we can tell it to require approval, right? And if you require approval here, you can tell it how long to wait, and you can ask it to send you an approval from your Slack. And so sometimes you don't have 24/7 folks. You can send it over Slack, and they can see it, or over Teams, and they can see it in their app. And they can say, yes, this looks bad, and click the button, which will then trigger this automatic execution. And all of this is to make it easy for you, to manage all these findings and really get to the bottom of what have happened, and help your customers solve it. With that, I want to show you the last item I want to show you is our dashboard. So this is the dashboard. We call it the Security Operations Hub. And you can customize here the period that you want to send it to, and we show you what we have done for you. So we tell you, hey, Mr. Customer, in the last 7 days you got 2,300 alerts here, and 500 of them were bad. And so just that alone, 75% of what you got, Mr. Customer, I didn't escalate to you something that wasn't actionable for you. We're telling you, here's how many were created over time. We're telling you about your vendors, which vendor is doing a great job, and which vendor is not doing a great job. Right. So as you can see here, And this is just random data, so don't take it as a criticism of these vendors. But Microsoft Defender seems to be doing relatively good job. Like 2/3 of what they reported to you is malicious. But on the other end, Sentinel is not doing such a great job because 2/3 of what they reported to you ends up being benign. And so luckily, Radiant Security is there. It will tell you it's benign, so you don't need to do the work. But if you do the work without Radiant, you still look at all those 100%, of what have happened here, right? And you can see here, how accurate Radiant is. You can see that in network phishing, business email compromise use cases. We do an excellent job, and you rarely need to override our decisions because they're so accurate. We're helping you show your customer how quickly you respond to items, right? We're telling you here your mean time to detect is 5 hours. These are just, again, these are just mock data, and we have customers who is within 30 minutes, right? But the industry mean time to detect is 24 hours, right? And we've done our research and we're updating it periodically. But we're showing you, Mr. Customer, because you engage with the MSSP, with this MSP or MSSP, you're now doing a lot better than the industry, right? And we're showing here that the industry typically responds in 128 hours, but you are responding to within 12 hours, and so you're really beating the competition and the expectations from others. And we're showing you, Mr. Customers, this is how much work you would needed to do if you did not engage with the MSP. So you would need for all the things to invest 1,400 hours in this case, and that would have cost you X dollars to do all of that. And we go further, show you here is how we, the MSP, our analysts, have engaged with you. So this is here. Alexander is maybe your main contact. He had done most of the work for you. And we show you each one of them how efficiently we are. So this is full transparency. Show them how great you and your team are. And last but not least, this is how much of this was fully automated. So the more you automate, the faster you respond, the less manual work you need to do, and the higher your margins grow. And so all of that, again, is to help you as an MSP owner and as an MSP employee to really show your customer what value you are providing. And so they understand that even in those, dead times when nobody attacks them and there's nothing bad going on, you're still there for them, keeping them secure from the bad guys and helping them, sleep well at night and focus on their business while you take care of their security.
All right.
So that's what I have in terms of a demo. Happy to answer any questions if anyone have questions.
Yeah, I have questions. I have a couple questions here, Shahar, and thanks for sharing. Very informative. Um, a lot of our clients are required to be HIPAA compliant, CMMC compliant, NIST compliant. Does your product provide some type of alert that says, hey, you're out of compliance? I don't want to have to run a report at the end of the month and say, oh, shoot, we were compliant 2 weeks ago. Does your tool provide some type of insight on compliance? Like, okay, you're out of compliance because for whatever reason, who knows, right? There's so many reasons why somebody would be out of compliance, but does it provide that type of reporting or information?
Yeah, so let me start with how compliant we are. So we take compliance very seriously, and Radiant is SOC 2 Type 2 compliant for quite some time, and we're happy to sign BAA contracts if your customers require it. We're happy to be BAAs as needed. With that said, from a compliance perspective, we help you be secure, and that's where we focus on. If there is a compliance issue that also reduces your security, we'll absolutely take care of that. And within the same demo that you have seen, this will be an alert. If something that made you out of compliant and it's malicious, we'll take care of that and help you remediate it. So that's how
Okay.
we help you, keep secure and compliant.
And integrating the SIM product is already very complex. Does your team work with IT teams on implementing it and configuring it and making sure it's working properly and gathering information from all the endpoints, or do you just give the product and here you go, you paid for it, walk out the door, no support? How does
Of course, and so so yeah, absolutely. We don't require, in order to deploy Radiant, you don't need a SIM. Okay, SIM is
oh,
hard to maintain, hard to deploy, hard to get a value of, and we eliminated all that. So Radiant is delivered as a SaaS product, and it's all about API. And in some cases, we also take syslog, but it's all in the cloud. You don't need to install anything. You need
okay,
to configure the right permissions, for APIs, for example, to Office 365 or Sentinel-1. And in some cases, you need to point your firewalls into our cloud, so there's no, remote ingestion nodes. You don't need to install VMs to collect all this data. It's all coming to us, directly to the cloud, and we make sure that our product works, that it's up and running, that the data gets there in correctly, and that we do all those things for you. That's the beauty of a SaaS product. We always take care of that.
got it, got it. All right, that's good to know. That is great to know. And what about any type of, selling this is already a challenge for a lot of these guys. Do you provide them with sales support? And let's say I have a client and they want to see a demo of the product. Do you provide them with demo support, or a sandbox that they can play in where they can give demos freely and easy to illustrate how they're gonna, keep their clients secure and compliant?
Yeah, absolutely. So our experience with MSPs is that some of them wants to sell using demos, and we provide demos of all the use cases. These are sandboxes that the MSPs can provide to their customers, and can show them what it will do for them, what it would look like. And then the other approach that we're seeing is that they're simply sometimes, just showing them live what you do for other customers. Right? So
Gotcha.
you're showing them, already deployed Radiant for 10 customers, and for the 11th customer, you're saying, hey, here, why won't you, come to my SOC, see what we're
Yep.
doing, see how my team is helping my current clients. And so we're seeing both approaches, and we're supportive of both of them, and we're happy to also clarify things for those who have deeper questions on how things work. There's a lot of AI and there's a lot of machine learning behind the scenes. And we're happy to take calls and help you explain your customers how exactly we do things, and how we deliver these benefits to them.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good to know. And it's good to know that it's not a SIM product, it's replacing the SIM product, because let me tell you, Gregory has deployed a number of SIM solutions out there and it's very complex. And I don't know if he wants to add on to that, but it can be a challenge at times. And we personally have seen some struggles even with big players like Barracuda is getting in the sock business, and it was just a challenge getting their product even integrated. So,
Yeah.
Greg, did you have any questions, or did you want to add any input to this?
Yeah, so some of the compliance requirements are that you have access to the backend logs and that you can trim them and store them. And what are
Yeah.
your policies with regards to backend logs?
Yeah, so we're storing all this data because we need this data to provide the benefits, to investigate what have happened, to triage those alerts, and to get to the outcomes. And we're storing them by default just for as long as we need it to deliver these values, and then we can either store them, continue storing them, or delete them. Based on customer preference. Some customers require that we delete them. Some customers require that we store them for a certain amount of time.
And can you like offboard those logs to somebody and give them to them, like for them to store, or do you need to store them?
We're storing them. We are collecting them and processing them. We are working on providing access to them. So
Okay,
within about 2 months, we expect that customers can fully access these logs in a very new and innovative user interface that we're building. And so, you asked Fernando earlier about the burden to, configure a SIEM and make really use of it. And my team is coming primarily from a SIEM company, one of the best SIEMs out there. So we're providing access to the data, and that is something that, again, as I mentioned before, we can either store it or we can delete it based on the customer and the specific customer requirements. We're building an innovating user interface, again, to reduce or to lower the bar for your team, right? So we don't need them to be Splunk ninjas or know how to query, raw logs and how to understand what each, Windows event means or each, log that a firewall generate means. And so we're creating an innovative UI that will allow you and your teams to access it and really get the benefit from it really quickly, without a big learning curve on their end.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good to know.
so sometimes you have to do something called forensic analysis. When something occurs, you have to kind of like trace it out. What are your capabilities look like in that regard, where you can trace things back to the source of when they occurred?
Yeah. Yep. Great question, Greg. And so the way we do it is automatic. This is exactly what our AI does, right? So for example, if one of your users have malware on their laptop, we wouldn't just tell you there's malware on the laptop here. We'll go and automatically, our AI goes and automatically traces it and stitches all the data point. And so it will tell you in plain English, here's how it happened. This person received an email with this link. They clicked on the link, they download this file and executed it on their laptop, and we'll give you the specific time frames that it happened, so you understand exactly what have happened and you can fully remediate that.
Great.
And then for those cases, if suspect something that we haven't found, then as I mentioned, we're building an interface for you to be able to do threat hunting on your own for your customers. So for example, I know that in some cases you may have an employee coming to you and tell you, hey, Greg, my laptop is misbehaving today, or my mouse is moving, without me touching it. What they probably don't know is that their cat is just stepping on their wireless mouse. But sometimes you would want to see from a security perspective, do they have any malware on their laptop? And we're allowing you to threat hunt for malware on their laptop, using our upcoming interface.
Great. Awesome. That's all I have for questions.
All right, cool. Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed it. Again, if anyone has later any questions, feel free to go on our website, watch our demos, and reach out, directly to my team or to me. We're happy to help with any questions and show you what we do in greater depth.
I just wanted to say thank you again for joining us, and I'm sure we'll have you back again, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
And Fernando, Greg, can you connect with Orion on my team, and we can help you promote both the audio web podcast that we did, and this one. We have thousands of followers, and my LinkedIn has like 7,000 followers, and so I'm happy to advertise it as well.
Awesome. You got it. I'll get him the links.
All right, cool.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
can already
Thank
see
you.